What's up, everybody? James Gore here. Today, here with a good friend and colleague, Brad Sherwood. Brad, you're the Assistant General Manager of Sonoma Water, formerly called the Sonoma County Water Agency. Name change, all these other things. But today we're going to talk about water. It's a pleasure to be with you. Reminder, I'm in this position of being a Sonoma County Supervisor. This is my 12th year, my final year. I could run for office, could have, but decided not to. Now it's time to go do other things. But we've shared a lot. And you have an amazing team over there. And we could be talking about water with a litany of amazing professionals. But since we're gonna just get into this and go over a bunch of the general discussions about water supply, water reliability, water quality, wastewater usage. Even like questions people ask us about how to capture floodwaters better, or should we do desalination out on the Pacific, things like that. I just want to use this as a great opportunity to download and for us to give everybody out there an update on where we're at and where we're going with respect to Sonoma County and our water. Because just like everything, even in the Bible, it starts and it says, from water came life. So we deal with all kinds of community issues here, but without dealing with water, none of the other ones matter. So pleasure. Anything you want to say to start us off?
Thank you, Supervisor Gore, for having me here. Like you said, I'm here representing the 269 employees, full-time employees of Sonoma County Water Agency. We've got a phenomenal team. We've got the best water team you would ever dream of at our agency. Professionals in engineering, biology, mechanics, right-of-way, construction management. So I'm blessed, and I feel blessed every day for the last 20 years being a part of this incredible team. And I'll just say, before I joined Sonoma Water, I worked for the Association of California Water Agencies. And I traveled the state for 2 years, meeting over 450 different water agencies throughout the state of California. And I always told myself, gosh, if there was ever an opportunity to go to work for one of our Aqua members, who would it be? Holy cow. I mean, when I came to Sonoma Water and saw what Sonoma Water was doing 25 years ago, we were the first in the state to actually be asking the National Marine Fishery Service to do a Consultation 7, which means, hey, look at our system. Are we fish friendly, quite frankly? How can we better protect the environment? We were the first in the state to actually do a water energy nexus program. We were the first in the state to actually be providing and developing an environmental protection division. I mean, so many firsts. And quite frankly, we were the black hat in the California water industry. And I thought, hands down, that's where I want to go. So here I am, blessed to be here, blessed to be talking water. Great. Just a great team.
Well, at least you're not enthusiastic or anything. So you don't have your resignation letter ready to go. You look like you're still having some fun.
Hey, I'll tell you what, you'll have my resignation letter when we all of a sudden just start to become a regular public utility. The day we lose our innovation and leadership from our board of supervisors to give us that innovation, I'm out. And I've always told that. I've always said, I don't want to just work at any public water utility. There's a lot of those.
Utilities are, there's nothing sexy about the word utility. Utilitarian, to run a utility, to be of usefulness is about kind of like pipes and process and big kind of non-nimble efforts. But I do think, and I know that Sonoma Water is the example of innovation. I mean, like you've talked about, and we'll just kind of get into some of the core aspects of supply and other things in a minute. But as you've talked about, first in, I think, the nation to achieve what we call carbon-free water, which is to do an analysis and say, the biggest user of electricity in California, on California's grid, is the movement of water.
Right.
And we have achieved to be able to do that all from renewable resources. Sonoma Water was also the birthplace, I guess you could call it kind of the hub for the creation of Sonoma Clean Power, which has now saved Sonoma County ratepayers $100+ million with all kinds of advanced programming, geothermal potentially going in new. So, this amazing thing.
And don't forget Skype.
Yeah.
Sonoma County
proper-
Energy Independence Program.
Yeah, it's how many acronyms
Huge.
we could do Skype, we could do AQPI, we could do
Aqua P is what some people
Aqua
call
P,
that,
we could do
yeah.
PSPS. Wait, no, that was power safety,
S2S.
power shutdown. We called that PS'd off. That was when our grid was being shut down. Anyways, let's bring ourselves back a little bit and kind of set the scene. So, I want to just throw some stuff down and then have you pick it up and run with it for a minute. Okay. The first thing is that, having been in this position for me for more than a decade, I think back to when I first got elected and we were in the midst of a multi-decade drought. We still have what we would honestly call, with our climate scientists and other people, we live in a world of weather whiplash, where the weather systems that I grew up with here in Sonoma County, which were more kind of cold, long-standing storms that would sit over the system throughout the winter, have been replaced with these Pineapple Express, these things we call atmospheric rivers. Where we get a lot of we might get the same amount of rain as we did before, but we get it in heavier chunks, spots, rather than slow systems that allows it to integrate into the ground. Things have changed over the last 30 or 40 years, and we've changed with them. So can you give just start by just letting folks know from a perspective of not the utility side, but the side of, should people be confident in our water reliability here in Sonoma County? And if so, why?
Absolutely. I think, and it goes well before, our time, really. I mean, our Sonoma County Water Agency was created in 1949 by the county of Sonoma to respond to, at the time, major flooding, right?
1949.
And so,
As a flood control agency.
as a flood control and water conservation improvement district, the Sonoma County Flood Protection and Water Conservation Improvement District. That's how we were created, right? And at the time, we were looking to adapt to, how do you adapt to these major flood events that just devastated Guerneville, Alexander Valley, hence the creation of Lake Mendocino, Coyote Valley Dam, right? And then you go into the period of
Interesting
drought.
note is that every dam has the name of the dam and then also the name of the lake, right?
It's so
I didn't
confusing,
know
right?
that before I got in. I never knew it was called Coyote
Coyote
Valley Dam.
Yep.
And Lake Sonoma is
Warm Springs Dam.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go into this period where we've been adapting to climate change and weather extreme for quite some time.
Yeah.
And if you look at
Throughout
our
the entire
role,
20th century, if you can think about it.
and our board of supervisors have always been the leaders, hence you are our special district board of directors, of that change and of making do with that change. So what does that mean? That means we built Lake Mendocino with the Army Corps of Engineers. We responded to the 1976 drought with Warm Springs Dam, Lake Sonoma. Holy cow. If there's one thing every resident in Sonoma County should be very proud of, is passing that initiative to build Warm Springs Dam, one of the last reservoirs in the state of California to be approved by voters.
One of the last, AKA one of the youngest
Reservoirs,
reservoirs, one of the last
Believe it or
above ground
not.
storage in California. Is that right?
Isn't that crazy? In the
is crazy.
1980s.
Kind of
right?
came in line in the early 80s.
And it filled right up in 83 after construction was done, right? And then, bam, all of a sudden you have this very progressive regional water supply system that is managed by our staff and our team. And it's because of the relationship that we've got with our customers, which are these 9 water agencies and cities throughout the North Bay, that we've been able to work together. Keyword is working together in partnership to address extreme weather, right? And so case in point, the epic 2013, release of water from Lake Mendocino and the ensuing drought that came afterwards helped us develop forecast-informed reservoir operations. And that is a whole new system of storing water behind Lake Mendocino and Lake Sonoma. This actually saved us about 35,000 acre-feet of water just this year. We've been able to save. That's enough to feed 100,000 homes, okay? 35,000 acre-feet of water. That's equivalent to, now mind you, last year we sold about 40,000 acre-feet of water for 600,000 people, our customer base. So it's like you just built a brand new reservoir. Congratulations, Supervisor Gore, without even having to pour one bucket of concrete, of asphalt, develop infrastructure. It was just through data management. Partnership is key.
Yeah.
And science, good Science.
God forbid. So there's so much here, and we're going to have to navigate this as we go throughout these next, 30, 40 minutes. But so let's riff a little bit. Let's talk about this. So the first thing, as I was mentioned before, is, are we in a good water place? First of all, with water reliability, let's just honor the fact that we have in the county of Sonoma with Sonoma Water, but also each city throughout the state of California is required to have a urban water management plan. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so what that does is projects out to a time in the future.
Right. So this year we're projecting out to 2050.
So what we do is we put together a plan that we have to submit to the state, and every city does the same thing and submits to the state and says, this is how much water we have. This is what our population is. This is what our population growth is. This is the amount of water we will need over the next 30 years. Here's where we get it from. Either we produce it or we buy it from somebody. And this is why our communities can have confidence that we have water. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's a confidence report, and I'm pleased to say that our urban water management plan is coming to the board soon for review and approval.
No.
That does show we have a reliable, secure source of water for our community, for our contractors through 2050. And it's because of the investments that we've made in various tools in the toolbox of water resource tools that we're doing. And so that includes FURO. That includes aquifer storage recharge. That includes better managing our well system in Santa Rosa Plain. That includes recycled water. That includes better utilizing the water we have, especially during the summertime. Like you were saying earlier, 50% of water use outside in the summertime is used outside. It's used in landscape irrigation. Our customers have responded to the call for conservation tremendously.
Yeah.
So absolutely, we have a very well-run, innovative water supply, storage, and delivery system that meets the needs of our community today and well into the future. And it's because of the investments that we are all making together in that system.
So I'm going to go through a hit list, and you tell me if I'm right or add or subtract anything. Well, first of all, let's high level. Sonoma Water is an agency, a department, a special district that manages multiple different things with water. In one degree, we are flood control management, just like what we were created as in the 40s.
Yep.
Right? So we manage flood waters in districts throughout Sonoma County. Then we also are a water supply and delivery wholesale organization, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so we get our water from projects really that are connected to the Russian River. So things like Lake Sonoma, Lake Mendocino, and then also the Potter Valley Project, which we'll talk about in a bit. But then we also have wells that we pull water up from the system. But for the most part, those wells that we use, they all come off of that water that's either connected to the Russian River or those lakes.
It's
correct?
a beautiful aquifer system beneath the Russian River. About 150 feet of this clean, natural sands and gravels is what we use as our natural filtration system.
Yeah.
It's so darn clean that we're not required to add any treatment to it other than your state-mandated chlorine and some pH adjustment because of how clean the water is. You don't want to strip the minerals out of the pipes. We get phone calls from folks who've moved into the county from other areas of the state, and they'll say, is it safe to drink the tap water? Because where I'm from, I've got to put a Brita system on or I got to put a filtration. And they're always amazed when we tell them how we treat our water, and it's naturally treated. It's amazing. I tell you what, we're blessed.
We are blessed. And so we have, we manage water supply. We manage also wastewater, as we've talked about, the treatment of wastewater, and then the reuse of that wastewater in many areas.
Yep.
And then we also have to take care of the habitat needs of fish, especially these anadromous fish, these fish, salmon, predominantly Chinook, coho, and then also steelhead that Anadromous means they leave the system of a river, they go out to the ocean, they get big, they come back, and they spawn, right? So and that's just one of, I mean, we're just kind of talking about the high level pots that Sonoma Water manages, but we also do all kinds of other things as well.
And it's all one water.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all part of one water system, and it's really an incredible position to be in to help coordinate that and manage that resource from tap to restoration in the wetlands. And that's one thing that, the board has always been mindful of and giving us direction is don't waste one drop.
Yeah.
Make it as beneficial as possible, because that water comes from our backyard. It doesn't come from the Sierras. It doesn't come from thousands of miles away.
I love that you mentioned that, because I oftentimes tell people that Sonoma County is like this microcosm or an example of the entire California water system, but on a smaller scale that's contained and self-contained. We have the Russian River, but we have this thing called the Potter Valley Project, which is, there's a lot of discussion around the future of that, and we can get into that in a minute, but comes down this river. Then we have 2 storage structures, but then we also put up an inflatable dam that holds back water down by kind of Wohler Bridge, if people know where that is. Then we have multiple collector wells that go down beneath the gravel, this gravel that is naturally filtered, this water that comes down. It pulls that water out of the system from underneath that's been pulled up by this inflatable dam, and then it pushes it through huge pipes that the utility and all your amazing partners in progress over there, that delivers it to different areas. And actually, we as Sonoma Water, we do not deliver that water directly to consumers. We sell it to cities or to, in some cases, companies like Cal-Am Water in unincorporated communities that aren't cities that then put it into people's taps, right?
Right.
And so we're wholesalers at this degree, but that means that we have to focus on the larger supply. We have to manage habitat for fish and for other species within that. And then we also got to play well with our partners, because that same river that we're taking water from is one of our biggest destinations for communities to go to parks and for all these other things. Yeah. Let me ask you, what is it outside of the general status? What is it that keeps you up at night? Right? What is it that keeps your people up at night? We've dealt with fires. We've dealt with floods. We have supply questions. We have projects. We have climate change. What are the things that that make you really not just stay up at night, be like we need to get into a room with the smartest and the best of the best to figure out where we go from here?
Well, gosh, I would say that one of the biggest challenges we have, and it's not infrastructure related as much as it's our aging workforce, quite frankly. Okay, I mean, we would not be as great of an agency as we are if it wasn't for the people.
Yep.
And with the they always call it the silver tsunami, seems to be hitting, and
A lot of retirees right now. Or a lot of people close to be retiring.
So keeping young, fresh, intelligent, professional engineers, biologists, admin folks, mechanics, operators, you name it. Because we are a unique agency. And to me, that's what keeps me up at night, is making sure that we have
human infrastructure, right?
Human infrastructure. We can take care of a leaking pipe, a pipe that broke. We can get on that.
Yep.
We've got solutions for that. But if we don't invest in our people, if we don't keep good talent, if we don't keep good people, then we've got problems. And I can see it right now industry-wide in the water industry. That is a concern, is the fact that we've got so many retirees and the pool of candidates is being pulled left and right.
That's a good point. What about just the infrastructure overall of the system?
Yeah.
We've been working together with you, with the general manager, Grant Davis, with a lot of the team, and with our contractors recently to actually put increases in the water rates so that we can pay for infrastructure improvements.
Absolutely.
What are those?
Yeah.
Why did we have to do that?
We have an aging infrastructure. I mean, since 1949.
Tell people what the infrastructure is that we're talking about.
So we're talking about over 100 miles of some fairly large concrete, steel-lined we got big pipes. Let's just say we've got 100 miles of big pipes that line basically almost Highway 101 from Windsor down to Novato. Some also that shoot off towards Sonoma Valley. They're aging. They're older. You've got several water storage tanks, the big storage tanks. If you're going on Spring Lake, if you're hiking on Spring Lake and you see those big storage tanks, those are ours. Those are critical to supplying and storing water throughout our transmission system. Okay. You've also got an X amount of valves and pumps, little things here and there that keep the system alive and well. Everything is aging. So the challenge that we have is keeping up, evaluating, prioritizing, and getting the funding to do so. And I'll just say we have our operations and maintenance team is by far the most superior operators and maintenance folks, because when there's an issue,
they've also been yelling for the
get on it.
investment, haven't they, for a while? I remember a couple of years ago, you and some others brought me out to a tank, and you basically what you were saying was
behind the scenes tour.
Well, and this is where you talk about being able to be innovative, but if your operations team comes up and says, "Hey, nice innovation, but you need to do the boring stuff. You need to fund.
You need to fund the basics." And our lifeblood for the Sonoma County Water Agency is our water transmission system.
Yeah,
and that is the number one priority when we wake up in the mornings. And by the way, we have operators and maintenance folks that work 24/7.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll just say it right now too. They are first responders. Yeah. And I'll just say oftentimes they get forgotten.
Yeah.
When there are emergencies like wildfires, guess what? We have mechanics and operators running out to our storage units, our tanks.
You got to make sure there's water.
Making sure there's water.
Pressure
making sure there's diesel in the generators to keep the water flowing for the other first responders. So I just got to give a little plug to the first responders in the water industry and also in the sewer sector. They don't get a lot of shout outs. They need the shout outs. That is a job where they got to go when there's a sewage spill. Guess who's going to go clean it up?
Yeah,
it's our crew.
Everybody always wants somebody else to deal with that stuff.
I'm just saying. So I got to put my plug in for my folks. But
we do want to thank
at the end of the day,
the folks who bring in the clean and get rid of the effluent.
I was just saying,
it's not affluent, effluent.
But the funding is key, and I'll just say thank you to our board for supporting our funding requests. Every year we go to our water contractors, and we ask on average anywhere from 8 to 9 to 10% increases on our water rates every year. And that's not because believe me, we don't enjoy doing that. Do you think we want to go and sit in front of our board?
Well, it's crazy because the majority of the cost of water is the delivery of water, like we talked about before.
Yet it pales in comparison to other costs that we pay every single day. For example, 1 acre foot of water that we deliver is 0.5 of a penny per gallon.
No.
0.5 of a penny per gallon.
There you go, talking about acre feet again.
My God, sorry. But you compare that to your typical Starbucks. You pay more for your Starbucks than you do for your daily dose of a little naturally clean, beautiful Sonoma water.
Love it. So, as we've talked, hitting different areas here, moving around, I want to hit a couple different things. First of all, there's been a lot of talk about the Potter Valley Project. Just a reminder to everybody, we operate a system of water delivery and even a natural system called the Russian River Watershed that has been adapted and engineered for more than 100 years. The Potter Valley Project, which is basically a pipeline that goes in between the Eel and what in the early 1900s became the new headwaters of the Russian River. It's an energy project that was put in by former PG&E utility groups that created electricity for
was it the
Ukiah?
Snow Mountain?
Yeah.
Snow Mountain Water Power Company.
So, starting in the early 1900s, we all of a sudden had we were playing God. Humans were playing God here. There was already a false new headwaters of the Russian River. So this Potter Valley Project comes down, and there's a lot of discussion on Potter Valley. I encourage everybody to go and check out the web pages on it and everything. There's controversy around it. There's people who don't want things to change. I did another podcast on it. We're not going to dive into every detail of it now, but it is always a concern to keep our water supply as good as possible. But if you're thinking about coming down the system, Lake Mendocino, the second one, just as you've talked about, just to put this in plain terms, this is that from a reliability standpoint, we hold 10,000 plus more acre feet of water in Lake Mendocino than we did ever before because we've advanced all these projects that your team has put together to have advanced forecasting. That means we can keep more water in the same reservoirs than we did in the past. We've transferred that over with partnership with the Army Corps of Engineers to Lake Sonoma. One of the things that we're studying as a feasibility study right now is looking at even having a under the mountains outlet that comes out of Lake Sonoma that goes under the hills where Dutcher Creek, kind of in between Cloverdale and Geyserville and that section, which could be another way that would allow us to hold more water in that pool and potentially get more water up north with any dangers that come from water supply and reliability. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of conservation initiatives. We have something you call aquifer storage and recharge, which we're basically putting water back into wells that sink into the water profile. We have something called floodmar, which is like actually when the river floods and we have high flood events, we're trying to slow down the water, get it all under the ground so that it sinks into the aquifer rather than just shooting out the river. There's so much going on, right?
Yep.
And so there's so many things we can talk about, but I want to kind of focus us here a little bit on some things that people ask me a lot about, and I'd love for some just frank talk, no science talk. So first and foremost, why the hell are you allowing houses to still be built in Sonoma County? We don't have enough water. That's why I get emails like that, whether it's during the drought or otherwise. Do we have enough water in Sonoma County right now to be able to still plan for appropriate development?
We have plenty of water to support development.
Do we? Should we be in a situation where we should be looking at desalination out on the Pacific coast?
No, we are not at the place, nor do I think we will ever be in the place to where we will need to invest in desalination.
Why?
Because of our portfolio of water supply projects and initiatives that we currently have invested in now and moving into the future, it's not going to be needed. It's not going to be needed.
It's expensive?
Well, it's expensive, it's energy intensive, and we just won't need it.
And we don't have the topography to be able to even bring that stuff from the coast over.
I mean, we went from selling like in a high 60,000 acre feet of water a year back in the late 90s to now barely 40,000 acre feet of water.
So we've, ironically, all the conservation work we've done over the last 20 years has resulted in us using maybe a third or a quarter less water a year in this region than we used to through this system.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's
pretty awesome.
It's so awesome that we're beating the state water conservation requirements for our region. I mean, it's very impressive.
So one of the other things that people ask me about, they say, well, if you're not going to do desalination, why do you let all that water go out when we have the big flood events? Why do you let all that water go out? Are we working on that?
We are working on that, and that's part of the forecast-informed reservoir operations system. We're actually storing more water. We're not releasing that water like we used to in the past.
And it's hard to make these changes.
It's very hard. I mean, you're talking about the Army Corps of Engineers, it's like rewriting the Bible. It's a flood control manual that is much like that, and it was written before the microwave was even invented, right? That's what you're dealing with. And so we are working with keeping that water from just being released unnecessarily. But you do need to release water at appropriate times.
Do we still waste too much water in Sonoma County?
We waste too much water?
Do we waste too much water?
I would say that there is still a lot of waste going on in Sonoma County. And I would say that, now keep in mind, we're just talking about our customers that are connected to the cities we sell water to. How many thousands of wells are there that people are connected to?
Yeah.
I mean, that's another precious resource that we're not managing. GSAs are, right, or trying to. And so that's another resource to where everyone's got to partner together to conserve this resource, whether you're on our system or you're on your own private well.
I have some allergies.
with
Don't think
water.
I'm getting you sick.
I got some Sonoma water here.
I'm pretty good.
Naturally filtered
yeah.
Russian River water here.
You know, it's funny because what we've run into over time is one thing is functioning and delivering water as a system, but the other thing is also is making sure that this is a healthy water shed. Okay. One of the things that at times has frustrated me and frustrated constituents is when basically the projects or the work that we do doesn't promote the health of the overall watershed. It's like we got to deliver water, but we got to make sure that we don't kill threatened and endangered fish. We got to make sure all these other things, but there's a standard that's above that, which is making things better. Right. And so for the folks who don't know about what the biology program or what the fisheries programs are with Sonoma Water, what's a high level that you can throw out there?
Let's just say, for example, we use Dry Creek as our natural pipeline, release water out of Lake Sonoma, Warm Springs Dam, right through Dry Creek to get to the Russian River. We've restored 6 miles of that Dry Creek to ensure that the baby fish are able to prosper. Because when you have high flow conditions in that creek, maybe it's not the best for the fish. And so that's where we have gone in and we have worked with private landowners, National Marine Fisheries Service, Department of Fish and Wildlife to improve and protect that habitat for all the salmonid species. There's not one project we do today that we do not take very, very, very seriously the impact to our natural resources, to our natural earth. And that's why I'm so proud of having a dedicated team at Sonoma Water that are full-time biologists that follow CEQA, NEPA.
You not only have like scientists and others, you got fish freaks.
Well, we got
one of the
massive
coolest
fish
things
lovers.
I've ever seen is
Yes.
you got a bunch of people who are lifelong anglers who
Oh,
just don't even want to be promoted because they would rather be there looking at. They don't want to be in an office. They'd rather be out there with their heads underwater or in a kayak checking.
They love their work, and we love them for doing it. I mean, they're out there in the streams doing fish counts, monitoring water quality year-round. We have, we talk about our flood protection services that we do, and we manage about 75 miles of streams and creeks throughout the county.
Yeah.
And one of the most pivotal parts of that program is protecting the environment because we cannot treat these flood control channels as just concrete lined runways, right?
Yeah.
These are natural waterways with fish species, other species, turtles, and bird nestings.
No.
So now we have a dedicated team that goes out to each stream to identify any potential impacts before any one of our stream maintenance crews goes out to manage or monitor, the streams and creeks. We take this very seriously in protecting our environment.
It's a lot of work. It's also complicated work, but at the same time, you just got to take care of what you have. So we do water supply, so we deliver water as a wholesaler. We manage for fish and other habitat and species and track them, but also invest in their success as a part of this water system. We take people's wastewater, and we have wastewater facilities that we manage around Sonoma County. And we treat that water. We treat that water that comes out of your house, whether it's black water, gray water, whether it's poopy water or whatever it is, and we process this and we treat it to use that water as a new resource again, whether we're in some places like where we're using it for irrigation for ag crops
The Carneros region is a great example.
Or whether at the same time, sometimes like in the town of Windsor, a newer town, we actually use that reclaimed water for, for example, these purple pipes go into people's homes.
People's front yards.
And they use it not just for irrigation, but to flush their toilets and other things.
It'd be so great to dual pipe all those developments.
Yeah.
Have purple pipe going in for landscape irrigation.
Look at
Be beautiful.
dorking out on purple
Sorry.
pipes. What's the old cartoon, like the guy with the purple crayon or whatever? I think there was a movie that came out with it. I couldn't agree with you more. So we, water's in every aspect of life here. But the other thing that I love to hear about is that before we really created these robust water systems, before Lake Sonoma came online and we functioned as a heavy ran these pipes everywhere,
wells.
up and down 101 and other places. We had wells all throughout Sonoma
were
County.
Groundwater, well-driven
And that
community.
was us in the unincorporated area, but that was also the cities. Cities all had their own wells.
Oh, yeah.
And in some places, like in Rohnert Park, we were told that they had significant subsidence in that area, and in Sonoma Valley and others.
Sure.
And when Rohnert Park started to purchase water from Sonoma Water and stopped pulling off of its area, the ground, which is a sponge, it actually not only stopped, but it brought back.
Yeah.
It reversed a lot of subsidence issues.
That's the third largest reservoir in the county no one really talks about, right, is that groundwater.
Yeah.
The water under our feet.
Yeah.
And managing it, ensuring that it's not only clean, but we restore it and we protect the saltwater intrusion from the bay from coming up, especially through the southern Sonoma Valley.
Pablo Bay, areas like that.
Is absolutely critical. And it also protects your wetlands and your natural springs and environmental habitat.
Yeah.
But we're very fortunate, and we always coordinate well with our contractors on being that reliable source of water so they don't have to turn on their wells. And we want to be that source to protect groundwater.
You know, so we got to take care of everything because otherwise it bites us long term. So, you know, our river system, as you talk about, also the water that's beneath our feet, the reservoirs that we have, you know, the management of the precipitation or the predictions, the predictive technology that allows us to move water. One of the things that's been most impressive to me is this, not just the words atmospheric river, but the partnership that Sonoma Water has created that allows us to get these briefings. Like you set up, anytime we have these big storm events, I want you to kind of tell people what this is.
Yep.
But you do these briefings with us as supervisors, and we get to like top of the line technology that says, this is how much rain we expect here. And it's really very different from like storm cell to storm cell and like this area of a watershed and how much of it's going to go into Lake Sonoma versus into the river. And this is how much of the river this will impact the flood stage of the river. And we can even track like the flood wave that's coming down the river. Can you just talk about what we do now that didn't happen before?
So about 14 years ago, this new partnership was started. And it was between the Army Corps of Engineers, Sonoma Water, the Center for Western Weather and Water Extremes out of Scripps Oceanography down in San Diego, the federal government, including NOAA, the National Weather Service, all came together and said, how can we do this better? How can we manage our water resources better? How can we better forecast when these atmospheric rivers are coming in? And it was through it's been 14 years of this partnership that we finally developed the FURO tool, along with the Advanced Quantitative Precipitation Information tool, which is advanced radars, atmospheric river radars that are now placed throughout the Bay Area, including one located right at the airport, that we can now show and have satellite imagery, real-time Doppler on where each stream of storm, I call them streams of storms because it's like you got one big atmospheric river coming in, but then you have streams that come off it because there's different reaches of high precipitation. And we can have these briefings with you and, most importantly, sorry, boss, but like Jeff Duvall, emergency managers, our water contractors. Where do you deploy your waddles? Where do you deploy your staff for any kind of sewer overflows? It's that technology through our one rain system, which is stream gauges, rain gauges, moisture probes. I mean, we're talking tools on the ground and tools in the air. Very proud of Dr. Marty Ralph, one of our key partners, and quite frankly, the inventor of FURO in my eyes and of the term atmospheric river. Getting the funding from the federal government to support aircrafts like the hurricane hunters. Now they essentially have atmospheric river hunters, is what I call them, to put probes up in the sky and drop them from these aircrafts to monitor the precipitation and these ARs that are coming through to hit us. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Let's stop on ARs for a minute because sometimes people say that, we exaggerate all these names. They're like, oh, every storm is a bomb cyclone, or everything's unprecedented. And
These are specific,
I've
though.
heard people joke about that with this whole thing. Like, what's this atmospheric river stuff?
It's
They're
just a
making up new jargon.
storm. Yeah.
But basically, you have multiple levels of an atmospheric river, correct?
Yep, up to 5.
And they. Why don't you tell us about atmospheric rivers?
Yeah. So essentially, you have there's a scale that Dr. Marty Ralph in the center created. It's like 1 through 5, and based on the intensity, the precipitation,
5
volume.
is super intense.
No, very bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The sky will unleash.
Right. And so the great thing about
will
the scaling and the forecasting tools is the operators, for example, at Lake Mendocino. Well, no. Okay, wait a minute. Based on this 7-day outlook, we've got 7-day forecast here based on FIRO. We're going to have a whopper of an AR coming in. Based on our current storage today, do we release water or do we hold it? Well, okay, water is at X level right now. We can hold it. Let's hold it. They hold it. The atmospheric river hits. Okay, what's the next 5 to 7 day forecast look like? With a higher probability than ever before, we're in the clear. Looks like we're not getting another AR. We can hold that water. Or an AR5 is coming. We better start to release that water now. Or based on in-stream flow conditions, we better hold that. We have the storage. Let's release it after this next R. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it gives you more of that dominoes effect. And like, okay, we can now
Well, it's a
control
live, real
the
system.
dominoes.
And as you talked about, so you referenced earlier in our discussion that in 2012, 2013, at the height of our drought,
Yeah.
there was a different system in place. We did not have this advanced system to manage water. And so
Right.
what happened is in the old days, the Army Corps of Engineers, that is a flood control, is a risk management agency. It's not a water supply agency. They have this chart that says on said date, if you have this much water in your reservoir, you have to dump it and only have 30,000 acre feet or
And that
20,000
chart
acre
was
feet.
invented before the microwave.
Yeah.
It was
So that's
written
the
before.
chart.
That's
It
how
just
old
says
the chart is.
every reservoir that was created has a chart that says thou shalt only keep this much water in this reservoir at these dates.
Right.
Right?
Right.
To be a flood control management operation. And for us, we use that same water, or we use that same structure to hold water for our supply, whereas the Army Corps is our partner and they manage it for risk reduction.
Yep.
So basically what we've been able to do is work with the Army Corps engineers, with Marty and with others, to make sure that the data is real and live. Because what they did was per that chart, they dumped a ton of water in the middle of a drought with clear skies and no projection of rain.
Correct.
And so everybody was outraged, all the front pages, like, they're dumping water when there's no projection. So now we had to invest millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars so that now that agency can say, oh, we trust your meteorological reports. We trust your predictions.
Trust your good science.
Yeah,
Science
we trust
is
your
good.
science, not your desire to hold back water.
Right.
But we trust the science.
Yep.
Right?
As they should. I mean, these are
think
flood
it's-
control facilities. I
yeah.
mean, you're trying to protect property and lives,
Yeah.
right? So you got to take it serious. And that's what they've shown is accurate, and it's done. And now it's being replicated across the nation.
Well, I think it's important to also have, everybody know where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going.
Yep.
So, where were we? Well, Sonoma County was settled. I was told that in the early 1900s, after the Potter Valley Project came through, and then into the teens and the Roaring 20s, there's all these people who come up to the Russian River from San Francisco and party and have fun. But there was a continual issue, which was flooding along the Russian River. And so some of the supervisors at that time, I believe one of them's name was Guidati, who was a District 5 supervisor out in West County, my colleague Supervisor Hopkins there now. And they started doing these lobbying trips. They went back to D.C. and, dams were coming in. But once again, at that point, they weren't always dams to just create more water for people to build communities. It was flood control dams.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was Lake Mendocino ultimately in Coyote Valley.
Dam, yep.
And at the same time, there was a second one that was approved that never went in. It didn't have the money at the time, and that's Lake Sonoma.
Yep.
And so we all forwarded, 40s, one came in, the other one came in the 80s. So we have a system that has reliable flood protection, has reliable water supply and has fisheries management and has water quality management needs up and down the river and everything. I'm super passionate about the Russian River itself. I think it's the biggest problem for the Russian River is that we've all taken from it in different ways. And
it's the heart. It's really the heart of
without the Russian River, this area
everything that we do
is nothing.
Yep.
So as you and I kind of wind down our time right now and kind of get to where we're at, like, so now we're at a place where we have good management systems, we have updated data, we have technology up the wazoo, we have innovation, and then we have a good infrastructure that we're taking care of. So we got like all the gadgets and all the innovation, but then we have more investment going into the infrastructure and the pipes. And what's going forward, I want you to kind of think about this. And I'll posit one thing, which is for me, what's needed going forward is for us to stop as different agencies is the siloed effect on the Russian River watershed. Because Sonoma Water has its role and its mission, and then Regional Parks has its role and its mission, and then the people who have wells have regulation and other things, and then development is managed through our permitting department along the river, and then water quality is managed by a different agency. And really, my big thing is that we need to bring an integrated approach, and we need to make sure that our decisions are not just good for one purpose, which is like getting water into people's mouths, or helping take care of agriculture, but it's like that those aren't competing, that they're cooperating effects.
It brings up the point of the integrated regional water management plans, and both up at the North Coast, the North Coast Partnership, and the Bay Area. And what a great job that we do on such a large regional scale, and taking that model of partnership and collaboration to a more localized, the beating heart of the Russian River watershed.
Yeah.
I mean, we do such a great job regionally. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to accomplish that goal on a more local scale.
Yeah.
I mean, because we've done that and we will continue to do that. And, we've got the partners there and we know who they are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, through the DWR Russian River Resiliency Program, we got that $2 million grant that we've developed a network of partners. We're going to work with those partners to develop a work plan for the watershed that helps achieve our goal as well as the county's goal, right? And that's what we're currently lobbying in Sacramento to do, is get WR to continue to fund this initiative, because we've brought those partners together to actually do exactly what I think your goal here is. That's why I'm thinking that could be a wonderful tie-in to helping achieve your goal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as we talk about, there's regulations oftentimes reduce harm or try to reduce harm and eliminate harm, but regulations don't always build the good. And one of the things that we see up and down this system is that there's gaps all through it. You know this. I know it. It's like in one degree we'll be regulated to make sure that we invest in habitat in Dry Creek, but the tributaries that have been blocked off from gravel buildup and other things like that aren't connected to the main stem anymore, and therefore the little fish can't get up there. Or in other ways, sometimes if we lower the amount of water coming down the river, then we have spikes in toxic algae bloom or other things. But one of the things that I appreciate is overall is that our water system, it is integrated and it's good, but it can go to great.
Yep.
One of the things that we've worked on for years is things called the Russian River Confluence and others that bring the water partners, the recreation partners, the regulators, the tribes, and others together so that you can make holistic decisions for the watershed.
We have an incredible NGO community, by the way.
Yeah,
the
nonprofits.
the River Keeper.
We call them, Russian River Keeper
Amazing.
does amazing work.
I mean, we have such a dedicated community of volunteers who want to get out and clean the watershed and be involved and active. That's gold.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we are so, and I say this, lucky and blessed to have the community that we have to support not only Russian River cleanup efforts, but also our carbon-free water efforts in the past. The rates, quite frankly, that support the biological opinion, which is the fish habitat restoration work. So count me in, and yes, we have a vibrant community that wants to be involved, and I think our community needs to know that every single one of us that go to work at Sonoma Water every day are there to protect and work and serve the community that we all live in. and then we all drink the water of. We all flush the same, not the same toilets, but we all flush the toilets that go into these systems that we manage together. We're, my viewpoint, we're a unique county in that we're like a village that we're all together. And we have this natural resource that we're so lucky to be able to actually manage together. And
I think it's awesome.
Holy crap. I mean, you ask, like, what's the future? The future is what we're doing today. How in the partnerships we develop today in the projects. And if we don't get together, like you're saying, in the watershed and protect the Russian River, protect tributaries, then I feel sorry for the future. But I think we're heading in the right direction. Because the partnerships that I see and the collaboration with the board especially, that's huge.
Well, and the thing you learn about working in government is that no matter what, there's always inconsistencies. There's always things that need to be improved. But at the same time, to have innovation and security embedded into it, it's a unique thing. I look at people and I say it's tough because a lot of the questions that we get are based upon people's fears about growth or about the future, about is this place going to be here? Is there going to be water for my kids? They think about the drought. They think about the flooding. They think about all these other stuff. But ultimately, I would say that
I'll tell you,
we're in a really good place,
Yeah.
and we got to innovate more. But we're solving a lot of the problems that have persisted. So conservation is better. We're using, as you said, at least a quarter less water, at times even a third less water than we used in the past in this system. We're holding more water back. Even things like Potter Valley, we have contingency plans that are working on right now.
We're building back better. I mean, we're building homes
We have
more water friendly than ever before.
Yeah, higher efficiency. We got more parks along the Russian River than ever before, so more public access. And
By the way, check out the Lake Sonoma Visitor Center.
Yeah.
Wonderful resource for the public.
Yeah.
It's open now 24 hours, not 24 hours a day, but 7 days a week from 10 to about 4.
Okay.
You can learn about
Well, you can also go up there and
everything
camp. I camped with my son Jacob and his buddy the other night. I went up to the campsite just above the marina up there, and it was awesome.
Horseback riding,
Yeah, they were
boating.
They were putting a bunch of money into it too. It's
a great
real nice
resource.
Yeah,
It's
the
coming
ranch at
together
Lake Sonoma
nice.
is managing it now.
Yep.
I'm just gonna thank you for being here. There's so many things we could talk about, but I just wanted to go for a bit and explain a little bit about everything that's going on with Sonoma Water and our water systems and other things. But anything you want to finish on?
I just want to say, we wouldn't be here with these success stories, quite frankly, if it wasn't for the leadership of our board of directors and if it wasn't for the support of the community.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
And sonomawater.org, that's our website. People can go to sonomawater.org, catch us on all the various social media outlets to learn more. And, a lot of people don't know, quite frankly, that we even exist.
Yeah.
We are often, we're behind the scenes. As you said, we're the wholesaler. They don't get their water bills from us. They don't see us out working the systems. But they should know there is a dedicated, passionate group of their neighbors and community members that go to work every day to ensure they have water to drink, a safe system to take care of our wastewater, protect us and manage floods, and quite frankly, do our best for our community. We want everyone to be able to thrive and enjoy the beautiful county that we live in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
to be with you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.